Well, hello, it's Thursday, so I'm a bit late for Woolly Hats Wednesday WIP again, and I missed you last week as well. The reason was I was going to do one from Northumberland where we were, but on Wednesday the heavens opened and Mr W and I decided that the best thing to do would be to pack the tent up and come back to home, which is what we did. And in that process I was so wet and so fed up that I forgot to do Wednesday WIP, so I do apologise. It would have been a very wet and soggy Wednesday WIP, and I wouldn't have been very happy. I've been quite grumpy. Anyway, I'm not grumpy now, even though the weather is seasonably windy and unseasonably windy and cool. Have managed to get out in the garden this week and do a bit. Filled my green bin, that's the garden waste bin, because I'm paying for it every year, so I might as well fill it. And yes, did a bit in the allotment as well. So in between the showers, got out and about. So that's good. So I've also been doing some knitting and crochet. So you might have seen on Sunday I finished, well, quite a few weeks ago, weeks, yeah, I finished my helical socks. These are lovely. So, but I didn't sew the ends in. So on Sunday I sewed the ends in. So they are rather good. So the way I've done these is it's just a vanilla sock pattern or a plain sock pattern. Those of you being on sock school will have one of those. There's plenty of others around. So I use some leftover sock yarn. So the purple is West Yorkshire Spinners, and then the other two lots of self-striping yarn that I've got in here are from the Yarn Badger, from socks that I made last year when we went to Spain on the train. So I thought they went quite nicely. So the way you do it is that you actually have 3 colours on the go. So you never have to change colour, change ends and sew it in. It just keeps on going round and round and round, which is a nice way of doing it. So I might do some more of those. Good way of using up lots of scrappy bits of yarn. And it's nice to have the plain to contrast with the other stuff as well. So you can see they're not twins, but I didn't want them to match. I think they're quite funky. So a pair of socks, and when you finish one pair of socks, you just have to start knitting another one. So I have finished one sock of, this is Mothy and the Squid Great Tits colourway sock yarn, and I bought this at Wonderful Wales at the end of April. So it's I find socks a good thing to transport, so when I'm travelling I take these. So I took these up to Northumberland, although I didn't do much actually there because we went on some big long walks, lovely coast up there into the hills on Monday, and we were there with friends, so lots of social chatting and stuff, so I didn't get a chance to do it. Anyway, I finished that. So what I have to do now is another one, so we'll see how it's there. I've also been doing some crochet. Some of you might remember this from 2 weeks ago, and I've done quite a lot more. So this is a dog blanket. So, look, dog footprints, isn't that fab? So this is all from my stash. Some so it's aran yarn, some from Abercan, some from Aldi. But you can see it's using bobbles to create the shape of the dog footprints. You could just, if you didn't want to do bobbles, you could do some other thing, just plain stitch. So it's quite a simple pattern. I did actually buy the pattern off of the Tintinet, and I wish I hadn't now. I think I could have worked this out myself, because it's very badly written and the chart doesn't meet the words, and so I've left that, making it up as I go along. Anyway, so the first half I've used pink and grey, and then I thought, am I going to have enough? So, because the pattern's actually written for Chunky, and this is Aran. So I weighed my project, my project when I finished up to the grey there. Now, I know some of you think of weighing your wool, but it's a good way of estimating how much you will need to finish a project. So I weighed it and on what I thought was halfway through to see if I got enough. So I've got enough grey, but I haven't got enough pink. So I have braided my stash again and got this lovely mustard colour. So I think they go quite well together. So hopefully I will have enough to repeat that pattern ready for said dog to work on it. Now, the other thing I was going to point out, a couple of things. It's simple, it's just double crochet and then bobbles. So just 2 stitches. Now, those who've been on my crochet course will know that, I think everybody who's tried to learn to crochet will know that actually going in rows is quite difficult to get the flat one. So what you need to do is remember to work into the turning chain at the end of the row. And that means you should get the right number of stitches. There are an awful lot of stitches on here. I think there are 110. So you don't want to be counting those every time. So the tip is make sure you crochet into the turning chain at the end of the row. Okay. If you find that it's easy, if you find that you've got too many stitches, you can knit crochet together. If you're getting short, then you actually need to add 2 stitches in one. But it's better to be on the right level or the right number of stitches as you go. So there you go. So that's that one. The other thing is that these footprints, the different colours. There's 2 ways of doing things. One is you treat these as intarsia. So that's a technique where you have small pops of colour, and what you do, you need to wind bobbins so that you have enough colour to create that. Or you treat it more as a fair isle thing, so you carry the wool through, which is what I've done. So you can actually see, I don't know if you can see a bit, you can see a bit of the grey behind there, which I don't mind because I think it adds to the colour and it makes it sort of more of a tweedy thing. But there we go. So that's that. So it's not a complicated pattern, just that when the pattern's not written very well, it takes a while to get to understand what it's supposed to be doing, which I have done. Anyway, so there we are. So that's that there. So that's keeping me occupied for the moment. So that will be going off to Goose. That is the name of the dog. It's a lovely little puppy who we saw last week. Came to visit its grandma, and it's a lovely little retriever, golden retriever puppy. I think it's a golden retriever. It's one of those sort of dogs, and it's a lovely sort of fairish reddish haired colour. So and of course all puppies look rather nice, but then they grow up and become big dogs, which anyway, but there we go. So what else is up to now? In June, in Llanidloes, which is in Mid Wales, there's a place that specialises in sort of crafts. It primarily does a lot of stuff with quilts, which is interesting in itself. But during June they have what they call a Wool and Willow Festival. So Llanidloes is, if you go down to Welshpool, which is 1 hour south of Chester, and carry on going down the 483, past Newtown bypass, it's about 10 miles from Newtown. So it's about an hour and a half from Chester. But it's a nice little town, nice little market town, lots of tea shops, and nice little market hall where they used to make a lot of flannel in Mid Wales, and in the hall there they used to do that there as well. But they're having this festival, and in it they have lots of people who do things with wool and willow, including Sasha Cargan, who is a designer who lives in Mid Wales, and I went on one of her crochet courses actually many years ago. So she actually started off as a knitter, and her patterns are very distinctive. So this is one of her patterns. And it looks like fairy, but it's not. Well, there's bits of it are fairy, but some of it is intarsia. She does a lot of work which is intarsia. It's not my favourite technique of colour, so that's where you have lots of different colours of ball. Whereas with fairy, you only have 2, or true fairy, you have 2 colours going at any one time. But she does do some very nice designs. They are a bit flowery for me. However, I do quite like that one. And I do, well, it's green, which is quite nice, but I love the contrast, the pinks, the browns and the blues. So you never know, I might do that. Whether I do it as a cardigan or whether I do it as a jumper, I don't know. But there you go. So if you fancy doing something in June, getting out and about, then that is an opportunity to do that. And while you're down in that area, there is a textile museum in Newtown, which I've never been to, so I can't really recommend. But, you know, if you want to pop in and have a look, they're doing a lot more workshops and special exhibitions and things. They've just had one on braids, as in doing sort of ribbony things. But I believe they're doing quite a few more during the summer. So there you go. So there's something to do in June. So I think that is all for me now. And it's now 9 minutes. That's a very long one. I'm making up for the fact I wasn't with you last week. However, I hope to be with you next week, and I hope you're having a fab week, and I'll see you next Wednesday. Bye for now.